So I'm wearing the shirt, man. I got the shirt. You can buy the shirt.
Nice,
You want
nice.
to buy a
Yes.
shirt? I got a shirt. You want to
Feel
buy it?
free to purchase our merchandise.
Coolest shirts ever.
Yeah.
Primarily Critical.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movies and After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before viewing any further.
Because we've got spoilers of, whoops, I got my beer can blocking.
Uh-oh.
Because we got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we cannot wait to share them.
Good, bad, old, new, weird, or gross.
We pass judgment on them all.
Today, if you want to be great at something, you have to be an asshole. My name is Steve. I'm here with
Phil.
and
John,
that's right. That's right.
that's us.
Your Winnipeg grown heroes. Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Phil.
Yes.
What were you thinking, man?
This movie, I love this movie, first off the top. But
I love it too.
damn,
I thought it was great.
it's intense and it's evil in a lot of ways, and it's wow. I mean, it's something. It's something. What do you think,
Yeah.
Steve? John? Steve?
Steve, go ahead. I think Steve didn't like this.
I did not like it.
What?
Much like Uncut Gems, I did not find anybody in this movie that I liked. they were all assholes.
Not.
It's like this guy is
What?
you have to
Uh-oh.
It's getting all glitchy on us.
you have to sell.
Steve?
Yes.
Are you there, Steve?
Don't lose us.
Oh.
Uh-oh. We've lost Steve.
No. I'm here. It's okay.
He's
You're
great.
good. We're good. Don't worry about it. So they would have us believe that
You took a trip on.
Whoa. Oh,
try not to focus
there
on
he
it.
is.
Try not to
Okay,
focus on it. Try not to focus on it. Okay.
Okay, but we didn't hear anything you said.
Oh, okay. I thought the audio was okay.
No, audio was not okay.
You took a cyber trip, man. You went off some cyber trip, man.
Okay, so you heard the story about the guy who sold his soul to the devil in order to become the greatest fiddle player or / guitar player of all time.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that what we're looking at here, gentlemen?
Whiplash?
So, somewhat, yeah, I think so. A little bit.
You know what? You could make a case for the fact that J.K. Simon's character was Fletcher.
Yeah.
He was the devil.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could.
And he was kind of like manipulating and trying to get the best out of this poor kid, 19-year-old. But he was vile. He should have been fired from that school like years ago, right?
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. In this, historically, there was teachers that were like that. Once upon a time, that was very standard. Like the old headmaster, of really strong, disciplined teacher. That once happened in schools. But let's face it, that does not happen anymore. These teachers are gone. They don't exist except for at that school, apparently.
Well, I think that school probably praised him or saw him as such a great guy to have in the school. They overlooked that stuff, right?
His talent was so
his
awesome. Yeah.
His conductor skills or his level of jazz mastery was such that you got to have this guy, and we'll overlook all the homophobic slurs and all the rest of it, right? And verbal abuse and physical abuse in a lot of ways.
Well, sure, you're smacking the guy to the beat.
Yeah,
smacking his face to the beat. So I mean,
1, 2,
physical
3,
abuse for sure.
Slap. 1, 2, 3, slap.
Throwing chairs and
throwing chairs.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy was evil. What an asshole, right?
What I don't understand here is that why wasn't there a mutiny? Because I went to a Mennonite school and we had some teachers that were somewhat like that. Like they break yardsticks over your ass kind of teachers, right?
Okay.
and and they ultimately resulted in mutiny. Like students knew that, you know, you can't do this, right? And I was one of those jackasses that would push him, make him do it, try to get him and try to get him to do something so bad that he's going to get fired, you know. And I was always trying to egg him on to do that shit. And yeah, he would yell at me. He'd break his yardsticks over my desk and kick me up. But I'm looking at these guys. This. I was in grade 10 when this is going on. These guys look like they're older. Like, you look at,
well, they're out of high school.
Why wouldn't they all stand up and say, "Hey, fuck you"? You know, like, enough's enough.
Yeah,
these guys are
totally.
using them all, right?
But to them, this was the pinnacle of being a jazz musician. This was your ticket to getting like immortality or getting a job.
So they all wanted what he had to give. So they're willing to put up with it.
They're willing to put up with some ridiculous stuff. Like I think of Fletcher as a drill sergeant from like Full Metal Jacket, right?
Oh yeah, I wrote that down. Drill sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah, he was tough as nails. It was like a military. He was ruthless.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was incredibly ridiculous. But like to your point there, John, about being in school and having teachers that are like ridiculous, evil, and awful. I was in a jazz band in junior high and high school for the first year in high school, and I've been around the jazz scene, and there is an element of this, right? There's a snobism. There's a class system. If you're not good in jazz, you know, like
get the fuck out.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like jazz musicians look at rock and roll and other music like, oh, you're just lesser. You're just like you're like, you know, whatever. You play rock and roll. And then let me pull this. Go ahead and talk there. I'm gonna throw something up here. There's one scene in the movie where I pulled it. You guys see that?
Yeah.
If you don't have the ability, you wind up playing in a rock band. That's totally what I'm talking about. Like jazz musicians are a higher level and they're arrogant and they see themselves that way. And they're like any profession where you're like trying to be the best. It's a competition, right? Yeah. I've been around it. I know I have had that feeling, and I got out of the jazz band because I was not having fun.
No. This is the thing. I mean, somewhere, okay, so this is what makes rock and roll so much more exciting as far as music, as far as I'm concerned, is because, you know, the imperfection, like, there's something to be said about, you know, when you get something so technical and so on the time and the way he wants it, it's like, it's almost becomes sterile, right? Like it almost becomes sterile. There's no, it's like
there's no fun.
This way, we'll put it this way. Like let's take Janis Joplin for example. She's kind of got a jazziest kind of certainly blues to her, right? And she's often even off pitch in her singing. Like she has a raw kind of approach to music. But there's something there's an energy that comes with that if you beat that out of her, you would have lost all the magic that Janis Joplin had to offer. You know what I mean? And there's lots of musicians like that, right? So
yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's why I got out of jazz at that level. I was not having fun. And that year, I could have went to Florida for a band competition, the same thing they do in the movie, right? They go to competitions, right? But the pressure or the desire to have success and so on in that world, I guess it's ridiculous and it's no fun. Music should not be like that. And like why? I mean, and you see it with the main character. He has enough. He attacks the teacher at one point, right? After having a car accident, he threw away the drums for a while.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and he's like, I had enough, right?
Well, this is my gripe with that style of teaching is that you might do is he actually might create the next greatest jazz musician under his tutelage. It's possible that you might come across with he might create that perfect jazz musician, but the price that he paid to get that perfect jazzy musician is that he broke the dreams of 1,000 other people that had a dream to become a jazz musician, right?
Yeah.
So is it worth it? Is that worth it? So you get one great but you killed the dreams of 1,000 others. You know, to me, no, it's not worth it.
No, it's
Here's the thing. I hear what you're saying, but there was a twisted logic to that Fletcher character. He wanted to fuck with that drummer kid. So, you know, like it seemed like he at every turn he built him up and then he took him down.
Yeah.
And he made him suffer. And he at the very end of the movie, he still tried to fuck him over. He didn't give him the music for that one song, right? And he made him look like a fool. And he thought, you know, I'll show you because I know you're the guy that ratted on me and got me fired from my job. And he's, you know, that's what I loved about the ending of the movie. He came through and still kicked ass and made that teacher look like an asshole.
That's true. The question is though, did he at that moment when was he like still hoping when he gave him that, didn't give him the music for that song and made a fool of him there, was he still hoping that this is the thing that's going to push him so that he will come out and show what he's really got? Was that what it was on his mind, or was he just being an asshole?
He wanted to destroy him, and like he said, you come up to this concert, people will look at you and forget about you, or that you look like a fool, you'll be gone. If you shine on this, you'll be, you know, you'll have a future. And so that's why, you know, when he left the stage, it's like, yeah, exactly. I've ruined your life like you ruined mine. And then he comes back and he shows you like probably the best drumming ever, right, in jazz history or something.
Yeah.
He became the bird character that they talked about, you know, the guy that got the cymbal thrown at him.
Right.
He became that guy at the end of the movie.
He did.
Which was very awesome. Like, cause
it was awesome.
The movie.
It was an awesome moment, and I loved that ending. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
and it went right to credits. It didn't even talk about anything past that, like his glorious career after that. Yeah, I loved that. I loved how it redeemed him, right?
Yeah.
Because throughout the movie, he got full of himself, right? That kid, he went to that family dinner. I made a note of this. He's like, oh, yeah, you're a cool football player. I'm the best fucking jazz musician on the planet. I will be, and all. And he started to become an asshole. He started to become Fletcher. He started to become like that guy.
Yeah.
You know, some people shine. Different people shine under different circumstances, right? And this guy wanted a very, very particular kind of brilliance. And in order to get that, he was willing to burn everything, right?
Yeah, but he was willing to bleed for his art. He would literally was bleed. I mean, like, can you go through hell more? There was that scene where they had the three drummers drum for hours to try to get to this crazy madman's like being an asshole. Like, where does that happen?
Oh yeah, and he goes not my tempo.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? So what are you supposed to be psychic and go, I wonder what his tempo is. Who knows what his he's not saying what his tempo is.
That's him being an asshole. That's
he does like a count of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they start drumming and he immediately knows.
Yeah.
That's him being subjective. That's subjective, right? No, there's no perfect tempo.
No. He's being an asshole.
He's just being a power asshole, like drill sergeant, or he's just
Steve,
yes,
I gotta ask you specifically. Okay. You come from a family of musicians, and in particular, I think your brother's a jazz musician, is he not?
Yeah, yes, he is.
And so, does that add any when you're watching this? Did this bring anything up for you in that regard?
I saw the difference between when my brother had his jazz friends over and when he had his not jazz friends over, and I saw a lot of people make fun of jazz, right? And so I think in my brother's case, he was a little bit venomous when it came to defending jazz and you know, his chosen art form.
Sure.
And so but he was the one that introduced me to Rage Against the Machine. You know, he was the one that got me down that road, which led to Nine Inch Nails and Korn. And
he's not like a narrow-minded jazz guy.
No.
Yeah, okay.
I think his man, he was a practicing machine.
But you know, I know
he's
that
extremely talented, right? Like, don't, correct me if I'm wrong. He's I don't know what instrument he plays, but he's like one of the best, right? Like he's
he plays the sax.
He plays the sax. Yeah.
You know what? I know people in that world. I know what you're talking about, Steve. I could not see myself achieving that kind of discipline. That's why I default to rock and roll. Rock and roll is creative, free. It's free form. But there in rock and roll world, there are people that are pretty damn like machine like and disciplined, like Rush, say Neil Peart or what have you.
Yeah.
But like jazz is another level of music. It's like classical music. It's like serious business. And they don't fuck around, and they got that egos, or they have that kind of like level of you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it is a thing, right? Like it's a discipline, and it's a not fun. Nobody in that movie looked like they had fun, except till maybe the end when our hero or our main character is like, he looked like he was on fire. He was in the zone, and nothing would stop him. Not even when Fletcher came up to him and say, "I'm gonna," he said, he mouthed something to him, and he just cracked the cymbal right in his face, like, "Back away, this is my world."
No, there's a scene in the movie where the main Fletcher, he's telling our dude.
Oh, Steve.
Can you hear me now?
Steve, you turn into a robot. We can't hear anything you're saying.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Phil, are you there? Phil?
Can you hear me now?
I'm back.
I can hear me. Can you hear me?
You're starting to normalize a little bit.
I can hear you now.
Starting to normalize. Yeah. Oh,
your face is still frozen, but your audio is coming back.
Well, okay. There's a scene where Fletcher says, "Good."
Now your audio is gone again.
Good.
Oh dear.
Good job.
Cut this all out.
You think that's
or not?
Good job.
He's going new age jazz on us.
This is.
Do you remember when he said "good job"?
Steve, if you can hear us, don't bother until we tell. Just sort of say something like,
"Yeah."
Can you hear me now?
Okay, when Fletcher said "good job,"
yeah. Did that resonate with you guys at all?
I can hear you. You're frozen.
Okay.
But
when he said "good job," was that he said those two words are the most toxic words in the English language, or something like that, right? You remember that?
Yeah, good job. Yes.
Yeah. Is there any truth to that?
I think there's some truth to that. But I wouldn't say this as biblical as he made it sound, you know.
No, I have totally. I would not be that kind of teacher. I would be more supportive, and like, he was just destructive in my mind. He was.
But
awful.
if you're gonna say good job for people that just like when you're you know, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you're gonna say good job when someone's really done a horrible job. You're basically lying to them.
Yeah, right? But at that level of musicianship, when you say good job, you should mean it. You shouldn't be condescending or whatever. I don't know. I think that guy was. Did you not think Fletcher was jealous to a certain point of his talent, or why did he fuck with him throughout the movie to not think, you know, you have a future, but and then to try to destroy him after all that?
I don't know.
It was a weird thing at the end of the movie when they met up at that club, right? At that bar, lounge. Yeah. And it's like they had that discussion. They kind of patched things up, which was weird to me because after all that, I'd be done with that guy. Screw that guy. But anyways, he invites him to the concert. I think he built up that concert to try to destroy him. He wanted to really just take him out.
But don't you think, here's the one thing I have with the problem with that theory, is that don't you think he's kind of destroying himself too? Because he's what he's risking there is that he's lost the complete percussion from the rest of that concert. So what he's putting on his show himself with his own ego, he's brought out the percussionist who failed on the first song, and now he's off the stage, and he's going to do the rest of the concert without percussion, which in jazz is the percussion's huge. You need it there.
Well, that would have been the end of the concert for them.
So this is why I go back to the question: is that did he actually think?
Did it on purpose?
Right, that do it on purpose, knowing in his mind, I know this kid's going to come back and finally show me what I know he's got.
That's crazy, but like he put.
I don't know if that's the case. It could be he's just an asshole and he was trying to destroy him, but he kind of brought himself down. He's sinking himself with that ship just to get back at the kid, right?
Yeah, and the way the movie ends, it leads you to think, maybe that's true. Maybe that crazy teacher pushed him all that way to get him to show that moment of greatness. But that's crazy. Like what he went through. He almost died. He almost it's over the top.
It's insane. It's insane. Let's get into this trivia.
Yeah, all right.
Let's get into this trivia. During the more intense practice scenes, the director wouldn't yell cut, so that Miles Teller would keep drumming until he exhausted himself. Phil.
Yeah.
Even the director was being an asshole.
Maybe.
God.
Well, it worked. It certainly showed. I mean, I thought this movie was shot wonderfully. I thought
it's incredible.
I thought they really captured like the essence of somebody that I'm gonna do this, and the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
to make
literally.
Yeah, they really captured that, and so to the director's credit, maybe that's what it took. You want to get that real, shot. You got to push this guy to the brink, and
this movie is incredible from the aspect of how visceral they showed a person playing an instrument. It could have been any instrument. For that matter, it could have been any discipline, like cross-country skiing or whatever. But the way they shot this guy playing the drums, and from what I understand, he was really drumming, right?
He was, yeah. And he did that drum solo, too.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, I heard that he did like 40% of the drumming soundtrack.
Yeah, maybe they cut things in and out to make it work, but I was it's astounding how good this is from a point of view of watching it as a musician, watching it thinking how nuts that would have been to shoot that movie. Like how literally demanding. It's like method acting like crazy. It's like it was really good. Well done. Like kudos to its sound engineering and editing and the acting. Oh,
well, then this is another again, like why I love this movie. It goes back to the thing I always say about like what I've said about Creep and stuff like that. You've got a very small set. You don't have, you don't have a bunch of bells and whistles in this movie. You just have some really good, solid characters with a good story, and that's all you need. I mean, that's all you need. And I felt this movie once again proved that. Now I know you didn't like it, Steve, but I like this kind of movie because I actually bought into the characters. I thought, they were characters. They were definitely characters with lots of depth to them, which is what I love.
Most of them. They didn't flesh out a lot of them. Like they kind of tried to develop the girlfriend a bit, but she was kind of like
Nicole.
And then some
she
of the
was
other
supporting. I'm talking the main characters. They developed the two of them. This is really
the two of them
battle the two, and they developed those characters really well.
Yeah, it was pretty focused on like there wasn't a lot of locations for the movie shoot. It kept it really simple. I think the budget reflects that. It's not a very expensive movie, but man, well done. So intense. It's one of the most intense movies. Like it's just I
don't know if I was ever going to get a filmmaking. This is the kind of stuff I'd want to do because I find this is low risk. I mean, you don't spend out a lot of money, and if you have a great story, great characters, it doesn't cost you a lot to make, and you can have a home run of a movie. Whereas if you spend like these millions and millions, like $100-200 million on a movie, it's gotta work. And if it sucks ass, you've lost a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they put this kind of like a big budget movie in the hands of a newcomer, but this was the movie. I mean, it's so well done. I don't know. Like, even if you threw a lot of money at this, would it matter?
You
I
wouldn't need
guess
to. It was
you wouldn't need to.
unnecessary.
Like,
You
it's
didn't need
focused
to.
on the
No.
drummer, right?
Yeah.
That's enough action and intensity. You don't need the CGI or big explosions. I had
No.
enough fun watching that guy try to hit that drummer trying to get that ride cymbal in time at that tempo,
Yeah.
killing himself, right? Have you ever seen a guy work that hard at hitting a cymbal? Like, bleeding.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Bleeding all over the place. Who's got this next piece of trivia?
I don't know.
I'll
I gotta
take it.
get the trivia. You get it.
All right. For the slapping scene, J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller filmed several takes with Simons only miming the slap. Miming? Probably
Miming. Yeah.
Yeah, only
Yep.
miming the slap. For the final take, Simmons and Tiller decided to film the scene with a real, genuine slap. This is the take that is in the film.
Wow. That scene, there's a lot of scenes that are just like, that look real. That's
Yeah.
not fake.
Oh yeah, everybody's going to agree to that, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Or there could
that's
be
what-
lawsuits. I mean, that is assault.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe that's how dedicated they are to their craft.
but that's what made this movie so visceral. When he threw that chair at him and ducked, when like,
Woo!
yeah, it
Yeah.
was so intense. So intense. That car accident, the car accident scene was intense. Did you see
Yeah.
that coming? You knew he was late. Just bang, he gets hit, and you thought, how the
Yeah.
hell? And he still tries to play the drums. He still shows up. He's so crazy, like he's dedicated, like he's in like life or death to play those drums, and he's still nuts. Like,
It's
I believed every
insane.
minute. I believed every minute of it. Like, I felt for that drummer. I felt for him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, I can, the closest I can relate to that is I remember I was hell bent on trying to learn instruments when I was a teenager. It was short lived. But I remember like trying to play guitar, and obviously Phil, you went further with that, but till your fingers were like, it would just hurt to even touch the strings. They were
Yep.
so, you know.
I've been there, but no one's
Yeah.
been in my face trying to
No.
make me do it. It was
No,
me
that's
that
right.
had to drive myself to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
Or you know, like I felt like, oh, you know, if I'm gonna do this, I really got to get serious. But that is serious. It's like, I mean, it's ridiculous. If this still goes on in these jazz training schools, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure somebody's teaching that way.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
This guy would have been like I said earlier. This guy would have been fired many times over for many, many, many different reasons. We know that he probably led that guy to commit suicide, the other musician.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And he has this big emotional moment for that guy. Is that because he's feeling guilty because he knows that he's responsible largely for a lot of it?
He was over it in like a day.
Yeah.
yeah, no, Fletcher was psychotic. He was a psycho. He was a musician psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next trivia, right?
Yeah, next trivia. We're running low on time, guys. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'll take the next one. Miles Teller, who has played the drums since he was 15, received blisters on his hands due to vigorous, unconventional style of jazz drumming. Some of his blood was on the drumsticks and on the drum set as a result. Oh, I believe it.
Okay, so some of that blood wasn't fake.
Yeah.
No,
Or maybe all of it wasn't fake. I don't know.
I mean, I read some stuff about like the actors getting their props. Like J.K. Simmons got an Oscar for supporting actor. I think that Miles Teller should have got a nomination.
I agree. I
for
agree
that,
too.
just for the physicality of the movie alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys were sweating buckets.
I believed every minute of that drumming. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right, so the film is one of the lowest grossing movies ever to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Awesome.
Wow.
Glad to hear it.
So just like you said,
Well
John,
done.
just like you said,
Yes.
John, this you want to go budget and great. This might be
Yes.
the way to go.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know what? This movie is going to be legend. If it isn't already, it's cult. It's legend with musicians. I can assure you, everybody you talk to that plays an instrument probably go, Whiplash? Oh, yeah, that movie is intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to have a word of mouth forever.
It's true. Yeah. I want to see some things. We got a little bit of time left here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I want to say something about Miles Teller there. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I read up a bit on him. You can see some physical scars on his face, I think on his chin and stuff, right?
I was wondering about that.
That's from a car accident. I don't know if it was his 20th birthday or his 21st birthday, but he had a bunch of friends get together. They got in a car accident, and he was ejected severely from the car.
Wow.
But everybody survived that car accident. Except for the only injury on it, as my understanding was Miles Teller's face hit the pavement, and that's why he's got those scars.
I was wondering what the heck was up with that.
Something further to that is that so he had a year of bad luck, and I don't remember all of it, but then one of those 7 friends that was his birthday that car accident happened. Then that following year, I believe, is one of his other friends that was at that birthday got in a motorcycle accident where he was literally T-boned, and that friend was killed. And so he said, like, the scene, it was crazy that he's in a movie now shooting a scene where he gets T-boned and in a major accident when shortly after a friend had exact kind of experience, except for on a motorcycle, So,
oh man,
I just throw that out for some more trivia there.
Yeah,
that just makes his acting job in this movie even more legend. I'm so impressed with this guy, and I'm so impressed by the movie. I mean,
he's so much more likable in this movie than he was in the Divergent series. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And he was in he was in Fantastic Four reboot. I mean, those are big Hollywood movies that he doesn't get much time to really do his thing. This movie shows you. To me, he's like the Robert De Niro of our time or something. Because he
wow, that's good. That's wow.
Well, why not? Because everybody thought Robert De Niro did Raging Bull, and he lost weight and he did all that. What's the difference when this guy learned to play drums and play that, bled for the art? Like, he acted his ass off.
Well, he didn't learn to play the drums for this role. He always did play the drums.
Well, yes, but to play jazz drumming?
Oh, to play that? Yeah, true enough.
It's like, I know how to play guitar. I can play a few chords. No, you don't cut it in the jazz world.
Yeah.
Jazz is like, is on another level. Like, and Steve, we talked about it. It's like, forget about it.
Okay, quickly. We got 2 minutes, I think.
Yes.
Whiplash. Why Whiplash? What's the name for? Because the song?
Because of the song.
But ultimately, he does his big solo to Caravan.
Yeah.
So, is there a bigger meaning to the word whiplash?
The car accident.
Car accident. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, we got less than a minute. We got to wrap it up.
Okay.
Wrap it up. Next week, Monday at noon, we're covering what? We're covering A Quiet Place. John picked it.
Yes.
And we'll see you then, Monday at noon.
Yes. All right, man.
Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace.